The boy with the fewest votes and therefore dumped from the island is Frankie.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
Welcome to episode 2 of the No Context Sport podcast. It's our pleasure today to be joined by RaceDay expert, fitness instructor, ex-Love Islander and local hero Frankie Foster. Frankie, how are you today?
Local hero, I'll take that.
Local hero, of course. Of course.
I was wondering what the bio would be. If someone asked me to describe myself, I don't think I'd do as good a job. So I might just, when someone goes, what do you do? I'll go, local hero.
Exactly.
Local hero,
Exactly.
yeah, mate. I'll take
Exactly.
it.
I think we'll start off with what are you up to at the minute, Frankie? How's life for you right now? And
It's good. It's busy. Summer is full of racing festivals. So nearly 90% of my work's in horse racing. And through the winter, there's equally as much racing, but it kind of comes in weekend or one-day fixtures.
Sure.
Through the summer, you get Royal Ascot, you get the Derby, you get Goodwood, I would do a lot of work up at Chester May Festival. You get all these like 3-4 days. So they're pretty full on. So this week I'm going to Chester Saturday and then Royal Ascot's Tuesday to Saturday next week. So it's trying to balance.
Yeah. What's the day looking like for you when you go to these events?
When I'm working?
Yeah.
For race day, I'll have a call with the race course, let's say Wednesday, speak to them, what content do you want us to cover, what sort of things are going on at the course. Then we put a plan in place, Thursday, Friday, cool, this is what we're going to film. And then the morning of, say it's Saturday, get up there, have a plan. I'll have a cameraman with me. I'll probably have another presenter with me. And then we just smash out the plan. But what I do for race day is I'll plan it, present it, but also edit and post it. So I'm like presenting and then taking 5 to crop it, post it, get it up, and then going back. So it's pretty full on.
So you're basically all over the marketing side of things. That's sort of where you've landed now.
Yeah, it's a funny one. So RaceDay.RTV is what we're talking about. That's what I'd say half of my work's in. That was a project that started 2 years ago to showcase horse racing. So it's quite a unique sport in the sense that if you go to the footy, you might have a beer with the lads before, but then you sit down and you watch the football. Racing, when you go, you might be there from midday until 6 p.m. and you've got half an hour gaps between each race. You're going to have a drink. There might be music on. There's different parts of the race course. So my job isn't to analyze the 6 races. It's to talk about everything else that happens. So throughout the whole day, we're covering that. And that project started 2 years ago. And I was one of the first presenters when it had 2 followers. Right. So no one knew about it. And no one knew what was going on.
Sorry, how did you get approached for all the race day stuff?
Because of Love Island stuff, I was in kind of the media world and I just liked racing. I grew up in Cheltenham. Yeah. So I used to do some things in racing just to get beer tokens for the lads. So I do some work with Cheltenham Racecourse, maybe like a press package or something, on the basis, can you just give me and the lads free ticket?
Were you doing that after Love Island?
Yeah, because
come on, surely they could reach in their pocket a bit more.
I should have, but all my work was in fitness. Yeah. So fitness was the work and racing was the fun. So I was just kind of finessing the blue tick.
Well, I guess it's pretty perfect for you now though, that you can work.
Yeah, so that's why it was a natural crossover because I did it for fun anyway. And then when they said, do you fancy presenting it? I was like, yeah, cool. I've never presented, but I'll give it a go. I've done TV and stuff.
I think you're the perfect person for it, to be honest. When we look at you, you come across I've
got the
well polished. Do you know what I mean? You got the voice for it. You got the little sideways smile. Do you know what I mean? Get the lashes out. And
I should say I didn't dress up just for the podcast.
No,
don't say that.
No, you're just telling lies. You told me, you were coming dressed up for the pod.
Yeah, keep that to yourself.
I should have put a tie on. I'm going to release some ties, so I should have.
Yeah, I saw about that. What kind of motivated you to do that? Is it just because you wear a shit ton of ties?
Yeah, same sort of thing. All of my work, I'm really lucky, has come quite naturally.
Yeah.
So I go racing all the time, and I would try and wear a bit of a funky tie.
Yeah.
And loads of people say, "Oh, that's a nice tie. Where's it from?" I was like, "Fuck this! I need to make them."
Loads of people or birds?
God, you see, girls don't wear ties. Yeah, unfortunately.
How's that going? It's in the process, is it?
Yeah, so I've just put the first order in yesterday.
Yeah.
I took my time with it, to be honest. Been talking about it for about a year and a half, and then it got to a point I was like, I just need to do this. So I'm sure that as it goes on with everything, each one I make will probably get better, and I'll figure out what I want to do. But I just needed to get the first lot ordered. So.
Isn't if I'm not mistaken, the niche for your ties are that there's only a few of each one?
Yes, I'm going to just make 30 of each, and it'll be one design. It'll be dated to when it was produced, and then once they're gone, they're gone. So it's a slightly more expensive way of doing it because it's small order numbers, and it means I have to get a designer to design. Well, I design them with a designer, but I have to pay for that. So every tie costs a bit more, but it means they're nice ties. There's a limited number of them. If you want that one, you get it, and then you've got it, and it won't be made again.
Yeah. Because it's kind of like, you know, when you got like a pair of sunglasses, like when you got like the Ray-Bans that are squared, you're looking around, everyone's got the squared Ray-Bans. you just don't feel special. I feel like with accessories, you kind of want something that's a bit different.
I like buying nice ties, and I always try and shop around and find something that's a little bit niche. And I think they're good. Like I've bought ties whenever I go on holiday, I try and buy one, and then when I put that on, I remember where I got it, or if someone's got me a tie, I always know who's bought me what. So just trying to make it a little bit more special. Like it's not going to be a tie that you just wear every day into work, but you'll have one nice tie at home that you might wear racing, for example.
Are we allowed to ask you what the price point of those ties are? Are they kind of coming out as like a luxury item?
Be towards £100, but I'd like to keep. I want to keep it affordable for most people. Like I basically want it to be something that, like I said, they are going to be more expensive than one you'd get from Next or whatever, but they are going to be 100% silk. They'll be digital. They'll be screen printed, so they'll be nice. But I don't want them to be like £300 Gucci. Because that kind of segregates. So like even my own ties, I buy ties that I think are expensive, but I'm not buying them all the time. So I might spend 80 quid, 100 quid on a tie, and to me I'm like, it's a bit expensive, but that kind of makes it nicer. You know what I mean? So everyone's got a few things that were just out of budget, but you bought them anyway because they're nice.
If you don't mind, we'll take it back to where it all started, and kind of how was your life like before you went on to Love Island?
I worked in a gym, so there's a gym 66 in Cheltenham. From when I was about 15, I started doing a Sunday shift there. People, if they saw this, would remember many hungover Sundays behind reception like this as I was kind of growing up, 15, 16, 17. And it was a family-owned gym. So
15, sorry, hungover.
Well, maybe only 16, 17, or 18 for the pod.
18 for the pod.
But yeah, it's a family-run gym. So Chris was Jack and Amy's dad, and they, as a family, like... they kind of not brought me up as such, but I got integrated into the family business. So I did more and more. I went from working just reception and cleaning the gym to then slowly coaching or helping with some classes to then taking on more work. And that got to a point when Jack and Amy were sisters. Amy left. She now moved to London and works in London. And I kind of stepped in to almost fill that role and run the gym with Jack. So me and Jack... I was doing about 21, but my job was kind of everything from, you know, coaching to marketing to how we're going to lay out the gym and all these sorts of conversations as a pair. So it was a great job. It's a great gym. And like you're working with your best mate, you're working hard, but at the same time, we get some downtime. We train together. We play footy outside in the sun. So it was a great job. And I learned loads as well. You know, from a reasonably young age to be kind of coaching classes and chatting to people every day, it kind of grows you up a bit faster.
And stuff as well, definitely, for like you're presenting. So then you went from there onto Love Island. What kind of made you want to go on Love Island, and how were you approached for that? Social media, do they just DM? I think as much, you probably found that if you spoke to people, like they have a massive operation of like these team. They go into nightclubs, they go to modeling agencies, they go on social media, they go on dating apps. So it was DM. They actually did DM me the year before, which I kind of ignored, and I didn't actually think was really that real. It comes from a random account. And then they DM'd again, and you just go to a casting, and it was a kind of like, why not type thing. I was like, well, they've asked me to go to this casting. Let's go and see what it's about. Time you were single. I mean, like, because when you went on, it was Series 4, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And so around that time, how big really was Love Island before that? I don't really know. Like, did you know what you were going on to?
I was quite naive to it.
Your season really took off, didn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the year before was, it was, yeah, but the year before was still big enough. The year before was like Chris and Kem.
I think that was the first year where everyone kind of, and then your year was obviously massive because people had seen that one.
Yeah.
But they had all the stuff about mental health awareness at that stage, because I feel like at that time there wasn't enough emphasis on the mental health awareness.
Less so. You do still do a screening before you go in. Yeah. So you have to pass a health check part of which is an STI test before you go in.
Oh yeah, I got a laugh, didn't it? What happened in your? What colour did your stick come out?
I made it into the show. And then the other half of besides are you physically fit and well to go on Love Island, is are you mentally fit and well? And they kind of pass you through. Like, what would you think if this happened? Like, they do a proper background check on you. What would you think if people knew this about you? And all they quiz you on that. But I was quite naive to it. I went on there as a why not. And even when they asked, I think the reason they put me in is because I was so chilled out about it. And they ask you, like, I think the question is, are you in it for money or fame? And I was like, I'm happy with a holiday. Like, I'm not going in to be a reality star.
Did you feel like there was a lot of support from Love Island and like the producers and whatever after the show?
It can be hard to, especially at a young age. It's hard to know how to there's no playbook for like suddenly you've got 300,000 followers and you have these opportunities left, right, centre. You don't know what's good, what's bad. You don't really know what you want to do. I've actually said a few times I would quite like to manage someone that comes out because I was kind of left to my own devices, and there's some jobs you could go and pick up quick cash from going to a nightclub, or you can do a brand partnership, which like all of this stuff is quick cash. But really, you should sit down and think, what do I want to do in 5 years' time? And if you had someone to kind of guide you through that, you could, in the long run, be way, way happier. And you're going to enjoy it a lot more if you're doing something you like. So it took me a few years to kind of find my feet. And I definitely didn't make the most of the immediate exposure I had because I didn't know what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And if I could go back now, I'd play it completely different in terms of what jobs I did, what I put out on social media, what I did, with that exposure. But I only know that now.
It's interesting you say that though, because I wonder if now there are still those opportunities. Because I feel like, at the time when you were going on, they were all sort of getting taken up, and now it almost seems from the outside looking in that it's dried up a bit.
It's just different, isn't it? I don't think you'd be doing as many PAs and all of that sort of stuff at nightclubs. And people are wiser to it. Like, this is why people say Love Island's, I don't know if you say it's dying, it's still, views are skyrocketing, but it's a different game. People go in there and they know the game. And like some of them have probably had media training, some of them are actors, some of them are already social media influencers. So they all know I've got 2 weeks or 6 weeks or 8 weeks to do this because I want to do it on the outside. So it has changed the game up. Like I said, I was completely naive to it. I just went in and fucked around and came out and then was like, shit, what do I do?
Yeah, should we talk more about that fucking around then? Because what was it that you actually had going on in your experience? What was the Frankie Foster Love Island experience looking like?
It's busier than you'd think, Everyone's like, do you get bored or you just sit around? You're weirdly busy.
Yeah.
Because there's challenges, there's stuff going on. You have to get stuff filmed. You have to like go to do a challenge or whatever. It all happens quite fast. I mean, it was great fun.
How long were you on the show?
Not long, only 2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks. Came in.
You're a bombshell.
Yeah, Casa Amor.
You came in Casa Amor?
How was Casa Amor?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you've lived that life?
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, it was weird. Like I kind of knew I was safe from Casa Amor because me and Samira we were already sleeping in the same bed, and that's kind of like because the guys go, or the houses change, don't they?
Yeah.
And then you're either like sleeping with someone because you have to, or you've kind of made the decision that you're recoupling coats. So I kind of knew I was going to stay in the villa. Was
Samira with anyone before?
Yeah, I can't actually think who.
She had a bit of a situation, I remember, because I remember she was really liked on the way out of the show. I remember she had a really good press on the way out because I think something happened to her early on in the show. It's taking me way back. I can't even.
I can't remember.
Yeah, I think she was the first person to leave the villa by her own accord. So that picked up a shitload of press.
Massive dub for you, guys. Massive dub for you.
Did you leave the villa for you? I thought you left the villa
He's
for
got
you.
girls stepping off reality TV for him, mate. That's
all the paparazzi at the airport snapping you, like jumping into your arms. Like, I bet she regrets that now. Like,
did she get free tickets at all races? That is too funny. So then whilst you were on there, did you feel like a lot of intensity with the cameras and stuff?
Day to day, you're pretty sweet. And everyone knows the game.
Yeah.
And you talk to so there's people called villa producers, which basically live with you. behind set. So you'll talk to these people about 5 times a day on like who you like and what you're thinking. They'll ask you all questions. They're kind of like you're like their puppets really, because they're talking to all of you. They know everything and they can kind of push you in directions they want. And there will be cases when you feel like you're slightly acting because you have to kind of play a certain role in a certain scene almost. So there are times you kind of notice it, but generally in the day you are just chilling and you don't notice cameras on you. They are all around you, but you just get used to it. And then the only time that is obviously, as you'd expect, more orchestrated is when you vote people out, because they have to get all the shots and whatever, and you're all in by the fire pit, all the cameras around, so you like it's very real that you're on TV then. Yeah. But in the day you're kind of chilling. The best day we ever had, don't know if I'm even allowed to say this, but the best day we had, it's a long time ago. There was too much footage, so we had to take a day off so it could catch up. So imagine it's obviously filmed and put out every night. There was so much went on one day that it needed to be 2 episodes. So we had to have a day off with no cameras, and we weren't allowed to like talk about villa life. We were supposed to talk about the outside life. And the girls went to another villa. The guys stayed in the main villa. All cameras, all mics were off. They put some tunes on for us. We had some beers. And that was the one day we were like, this is what it should feel like.
It's like an actual holiday.
Like, fuck.
Who did you get closest with in the villa, would you say?
Well, I'm actually mates with quite a lot of them. And they're all great lads, to be honest. I couldn't say a bad word about any of the lads, but Charlie I'll see regularly. I've been on holiday with him and stuff. Adam, weirdly, we like crossed over, right? But we instantly got on. I think we must have had like 2 days in there together, but we both clicked really quickly. And again, especially because he's into fitness and everything, we've seen each other plenty of times after as well. So like, I mean, Charlie's a B who I speak to most, but all of the lads, they were all good lads. Some of the girls were questionable, but
do you want to elaborate on which ones are questionable?
Yeah, I'm trying to hear that.
Yeah, I'm trying to hear who's questionable.
A long time ago. I mean, I saw Jack Fincham. I'll actually see him on Wednesday, hopefully at Ascot. We've got a horse running, which was quite cool. We did a thing where it was like a blind cinema. So a group of influencers, for lack of a better word, came to a racing yard. And then I presented to them a horse that they now all had shares in. A project to get more exposure to racing and stuff. So that horse is going to run at Ascot on Wednesday.
So all the influencers have share in the horse? Yeah. So that they all post it up on their story? Yeah, I see it.
Do you have any shares in any horse? Like,
do I? Horses? Technically, I think I actually do in that one. But no, I don't. I mean, it's not a game for making money, really. It's a hobby if you've got enough money to do it. Well, it depends, actually. I mean, I shouldn't say that, because this project is all about affordable shares in racehorses. So there's plenty of things now where you could buy like a thousandth of a horse for 50 quid or something like that. And that's not going to guarantee you getting the parade ring, because there's 1,000 of you, but they'll do like a draw and 10 of you will be able to go into the parade ring, and so on. So there's lots of different things now where you can be involved with horses as part of a bigger group. So lots of syndicates.
Sorry, what does it really mean to buy a share of a horse? Like, what does that mean?
So if you were a sole owner of a horse, you'd buy the horse, you'd pay for its training fees, and when it raced, if it won prize money, the jockey and the trainer get a percentage, but then you'd get the largest percentage of that prize money. So you own it, and if it wins races, you get money back. It's rare that you'd make profits, but it can happen. So all it's doing is splitting that up. You could have a syndicate of 10, and that means you've split the horse 10 ways. So if it costs 30 grand, you've paid 3 grand each. And again, when it races, trainer, jockey get a cut, and you get a cut. Typically, you'd buy a horse and not really expecting a return, because it's hard to win races. And unless you get a really good horse, you might be running in a race which is worth 10 grand to the winner. But there are dream stories, and you can win Group 1s, which are like 300 grand to the winner. I covered a story of 10 people that bought a share in a horse, probably 1,000 to 5,000 each. And the horse went on to win, I'd say about £500,000 of prize money, and then they sold the horse for 1.2 million after buying it for around 30, I think, a year later.
Wow!
So those boys did well.
So you can make some serious bread in this game,
but you got to be very, very lucky. There's another the Grand National winner, Korak Rambler. He was a relatively cheap horse, and he won a Cheltenham Festival handicap, which would probably be worth, I don't know, a couple of £100,000, and then he won the Grand National We've won 2 of those. So,
Yeah,
so there are dream stories.
Yeah. That's what I find so confusing about the sport. I mean, we spoke about it outside just before off camera, but I don't really understand how you know when a horse is going to win the race, or like how everyone seems to bet with so much conviction. They go, yeah, that one there, I want him, he's going to win. They bet with so much conviction, but it's like you never really know who's going to win the race. It always seems like chance.
Yeah, I mean, you'd look at the form is what you do. So there'd be, let's say there's 10 horses in a race, depending on what race it is, but likelihood is they've all raced before and they'll race in classes. So you could liken it to football. Like football, there's Premiership, Championship, League 1, 2, 3. In horse racing, there's class 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 up to grade 1 level or group 1 level. So they're ranked and they get a rating as well. So you do have a rating for each horse. A flat horse might be rated 80, is technically £10 worse than a horse rated 90. So you know things about the horses and you know if they're better at certain distances, if they're better on certain ground based on what they've done previously. So if you wanted to get your head stuck into it, you'd look at all the runners, you'd look at all the races they'd have before. When have they raced well? Have they beaten or came behind each other? So on, so on. So, but it's a muddle, and it's hard.
So don't just pick the smallest jockey.
Not the smallest jockey, no. But people do bet on jockeys. Like you could follow a jockey, and jockeys do have the influence over some degree whether a horse will win because they're the one doing the steering and deciding when they're going to click go. So yeah, there's so many things to think about.
Is Ascot one of your favourite races?
Good question. I definitely would recommend it, like, to you lads.
Yeah, my mum's gone before. Yeah, all dressed up.
Yeah.
Do you reckon we'll get in these clothes, or we gotta get suited and booted up?
Although the Jockey Club have relaxed dress codes, so you can go racing now in trainers and a t-shirt.
Is that the same Ascot you said you were going to get us all free tickets to?
Struggled to get myself one.
Oh, wow.
I did security at a races in Greater Yarmouth, so I was doing security up in Greater Yarmouth, and I remember I was doing the searches on the front gate. And I was looking in these people's bags and stuff, and oh my God, the amount of cash I saw that day. I've never seen anything like it. Like, these little old men, yeah, they're hobbling in, yeah, with their, like, walking stick and that. You go, yeah, mate, can I have a little look in your bag? He goes, yeah. You open it up, and there's like 30 grand cash in, like, a massive stack. And then you go,
big players at Yarmouth.
You go, I'll check the next one. I'm thinking, mate, I'm getting £10 an hour. Like,
no one's got 30 grand cash in Yarmouth.
Yeah, no one's got 30 grand cash in Yarmouth.
Bro, I'm telling you, I saw, like, some stack that was coming like this, bro.
But coming out of Love Island and obviously seeing all the pressure that was on you straight away, articles being written about you, how did that feel? Because obviously you've gone in there, like you said, it's like a holiday rather than kind of expecting anything on the other side. So how did you kind of deal with that?
I mean, look, it's like a what's the word I'm looking for? It's like a fanfare of media and press, and it's mental. Like, I never wanted to refer to myself as famous or well known or whatever, but genuinely, when I came out, when I went to what's the big shopping centre, Westfield in London, I could not move for about 3 hours for photos, and if I wanted to go into a shop, I'd have to go and sit in the shop's office and they'd shop for me, because if I was on the shop floor, the shop would just fill. And like, that's the fucking height of it. And I'd been in there 2 weeks.
Wow.
Like, think about the people that are like, go and win the show. It's absolutely mad. It's short lived.
Yeah.
But for a short period, like, every single person knows who you are. So
does that feel amazing though? Does that feel amazing?
How did you really find that? Because that's quite intense.
Yeah. Did you get a lot of hate?
Yeah, I never got bothered by, like I said, bad articles, false articles, hate, bad DMs. I literally never ever cared about those, because it was like a separate person to me.
Yeah.
Because it's like Love Island Frankie.
Yeah.
And you could say what you want about him because it's not me.
Yeah.
So any article was written or whatever, it was all in this like media Love Island circle, and I could just go home and have a beer with the boys, and that was like my actual life.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like I had 2 lives, and I'd play in that life sometimes, but I could quite easily go back to Cheltenham. And like, I remember in the middle of all this carnage, I just went for a day at the cricket with the lads in Cheltenham, and it was like completely normal. So I never cared again, for better or worse. I think it was probably a bad thing going in. I was so naive and so relaxed, but a good thing on the way out. I genuinely never cared. I can literally sit here and say no article ever bothered me. It stressed my mum out. she was losing the plot. But I can genuinely say that every single interview I've done or thing that's been written, good or bad, I didn't care because it wasn't me, and I didn't want to be a reality star. I didn't want to be Mr. Love Island. Whereas now, if someone, criticised my presenting and racing, I'd notice it.
Mm-hmm.
But then if someone criticised me on Love Island, so
I mean, I guess it's because you didn't really care about it, whereas you care about the racing.
Yeah, exactly. And it's been a funny learning curve because when I came out of Love Island, I was like, I don't want to be a reality star. Not really asked about all this press and being famous. Like I didn't really think it was for me. Whereas now, if you ask me, I love talking to camera. I love presenting. I love being like on stage. I love having an audience. So it's kind of like the opposite. But I think what I've realised is I didn't like being known for nothing. Like just being famous for famous sake.
Yeah, I mean, as much as you get all the media attention and stuff, did you feel like when you came out, you got a lot of girl attention as well?
People have asked me this a lot. You have to be quite careful. So I was single before going in, and I'd say I would get more girls before because I could do what I wanted.
Yeah. And there was no accountability.
Whereas suddenly you're like, shit, are they going to screenshot this DM? Or there's an ulterior motive.
The quality then, the quality. What was the difference?
Yeah, rather than quantity, let's go for the quality. Are you getting higher quality? You know what I mean? Have you got a girlfriend at the moment, by the way? I don't want to insult.
No.
Are you a DMs kind of guy? Are you firing off DMs when you come out the Love Island villa? Are you shooting off many DMs?
It probably would have been, yeah. I'm sure there's plenty.
Blue tick.
Of course you would have been looking, mate. He's all over.
Yeah, probably still now.
I've got something I really need to know.
Go.
Yeah. Who is the most famous person that DM'd you when you came out of Love Island?
I don't think anyone.
You didn't get it? And no blue ticks in your DMs, no?
Oh, there would have been but...
Got to be a couple girls in there like trying to move, you know.
I don't think there was.
Nah.
No, didn't you say it told me Ariana Grande?
Ariana Grande, yeah, that's it.
No, I don't think so.
Did you shoot off any DMs to any particularly famous people?
Yeah.
I must.
You defo use that blue tick for the right reasons, didn't you? Get it straight.
Well, now it's dead. You can buy one.
Yeah, exactly.
It's terrible. Why can you buy a blue tick?
I know.
You can see when
I'm
people
done.
buy
I'm finished. The M game's just done.
Nah, I reckon you still got DMs.
You're connecting on LinkedIn now, more, aren't you?
Have you got an opening line you like to use in DMs, or is it just we go for anything?
Oh, anything. I'll give like the shittest chat in DMs.
Oh, you give shit chat?
Just anything to get off the mark. I think this has always been my theory. Like, whatever you say first is irrelevant because they're going to make a call based on if they think you're good looking or not. So, like, the first message is just to open the conversation, and it can be anything. And whether it's good or bad, they're going to make their decision not based on what you said, unless you've said something amazing.
Yeah, that's what I've said some stupid
completely awful.
Yeah, all completely awful. They're probably going to have, because I do the same. If a girl DM me, I'm not going to be like, wow, they've just asked me something really interesting. You're going to have, let's be honest, you're going to have a look at their profile and then make a call.
Yeah.
So, like the first message, I think just fire in.
Yeah. have you got an opener for us?
An opener in person is just to tell. This sounds a bit weird, but it works a treat. If you just say to someone you're really good looking.
Yeah, that's what you go for.
Yeah,
yeah, but I haven't got the Cheltenham voice to say it like that.
That was yeah. To be fair, I felt like you were talking to me.
Because he gave me the eyes as well at the same
you got the
time.
eyes.
I really felt that. I'm getting hot, man.
Especially, I'd say I would typically go for girls who probably would dislike Love Island. And they'd be like, "Oh, you're on Love Island." Like, oh,
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, like, it can actually work against you, especially like a girl that's, a bit more cool and like not into all of that sort of thing. And she hears you're on Love Island, she's like, "Oh, fuck that guy. He's been on Love Island." Because it does have a lot of negatives as well.
Yeah.
And some people will even give you grief without it. They just think the thing that always used to baffle me is people would, without knowing you, they just know you've been on Love Island, would go, "Oh, you think you're really cool, don't you?" I was like, "No, like
nothing about it.
Yeah, but because you've been on this show, they have this kind of attachment to people on Love Island that think they're really cool or whatever." Or the other weird thing that people always used to do, they'd come up to you and say, "I don't know who you are." Or they'd come up to you and say, "I didn't watch Love Island." And you're like, "So why are you telling me?"
Trying to prove a point.
Yeah, like it's the strangest thing, and it's really hard to reply to because like instantly I just want to say I don't care.
Yeah.
And then they're like, "Oh, you do care." And I'm like, "No, I don't. I literally couldn't give a shit. If you knew who I was or if you didn't, or if you watched the show or you didn't, I couldn't give a shit." And people would come up to you and go, "Yeah, by the way, I don't know who you are." And I'm like, okay. Has
anyone ever kind of start the fight with you just for the sake of like, you just come out of Love Island and
not really, to be honest. No, I don't think I've ever had any lads give me too much grief.
look at his muscles, mate.
Yeah, to be fair.
Shrinking now with horse racing. No, I don't think so. I genuinely don't think I've had any lads. It probably has been some knobheads along the way that have used it as an excuse. Yeah, a lot of girls. You'd get a lot of shit from girls.
Yeah.
Like drunk girls were the worst.
But they're probably trying to move you. They're trying to move you. But I think with that, it's probably like the girls look at you. Yeah, they've been preying you on TV. They probably rate your thing, and now they're looking at it and they're like, okay, I want to move him, but I'm a girl and I've never moved a guy before because it's not what most girls do. Yeah, so they just come up to you and try and violate you.
Girls.
That's how I'd take it if I was you, because you're too good looking to actually get bullied by girls. I can't lie.
Girls should like if a girl ever has approached me and they do it properly, or the best thing was like girls just come up to me and said, hey, can I buy you a drink?
Nice.
That took me off guard, and I was like, why?
That's some girl that's some real girl risk.
Yeah, but like if girls are watching, if you do that,
girls, if you're watching, come up to us and ask if you want a
come up to us and buy
me drinks. No, but I think if a girl can go up to a guy with confidence,
it's interesting you say that, because I think that not enough girls have got the confidence to drop Riz, and moreover, when they have got the confidence, I think they don't know what to do, because you must have had a lot of DMs from girls trying to move you. Yeah, and how do you feel about like the way that girls will like chirps you up in DMs?
DMs, like I said, you can make your call and you can ignore a DM. But I was having this conversation weirdly the other day. Girls have come up to me and asked for my number, and even if I don't fancy them, I just give it, because I'm not that asked about you having my number, and I just respect that they've come over.
Yeah.
Like I've been sat at dinner with like a group of lads, and a girl's come to the table and just like, sorry to interrupt, I think you're really good looking, can I take your number? And that takes some bollocks.
Well, to be fair, that's got to make you feel like,
got respect.
I bet your mates feel like a pile of shit.
Doesn't happen all the time. It's stuck in the mind for a reason.
Your mates must hate you, innit? I bet everywhere they go.
They're all there trying to split the bill and you're just getting
He's there getting the drinks ball.
But you never say no to that.
No,
like,
cool.
You've got to respect it. And I think that confidence is sexy as well.
Yeah.
So it kind of, not to put a number on someone, but if you thought they were a 6 out of 10 and then they come with a bit of confidence, then
like him, 6 out of 10.
You up. 6 out of 10 with confidence.
6 out of 10, confidence. It's like this guy. I reckon this is 6 out of 10 with confidence.
That completely though. I think not enough girls do come up to guys and like move them. I think so many more girls should like come up to us and move us.
What do you think about that? What do you think?
I sounded like the biggest virgin ever just then.
Please,
we need more girls.
What do you think about stopping someone on a tube? I was having this conversation.
I think it's a bit wild.
It's a high pressure situation.
I think it's a bit wild.
I was thinking about it yesterday.
There's so many people
like guys and girls. I mean, would you go up to
maybe
a girl?
if you're sat down next to someone on the tube, because like yesterday I was sat down next to this girl. Yeah, she was laying, and like I just felt our arms touch, and I thought about saying something.
She heard all that.
You definitely said nothing. You didn't say nothing, did you?
You were there. You know I said that.
I had a situation on I got on the tube. Well, I was coming down the stairs actually, kind of caught eyes with this girl, and I was with 2 friends and she was on her own, and we got on the tube together, and I was like, do I say something? Do I not? And it's a bit like, not necessarily because I'd be embarrassed, more because you're putting quite a lot of pressure on them to say yes or no or give you, and they can't get off. So I left it.
Yeah, that's a
But then I changed one of my Hinge prompts to, I can't remember what the prompt was, like match me or something like that. If
you're on Hinge.
So yeah,
if you
you're
saw
on
me
Hinge.
if you saw me,
guy.
Yeah.
Tinder.
Wow, a guy like you need Hinge.
No Tinder. If you saw me on the tube, and then like 2 days later matched her, and she was like, "Did you change your bio for me?" I was like, "Yeah."
Oh, that's
good game. Yeah, it's good game.
Manifested the
That's
tube.
Riz.
But you know when people see you on Hinge, they've got to be thinking it's a fake account.
It's a story to this. So yeah, I've had so many accounts banned because people report it. Right. So this is a bit lame, but
you've got to drop it.
I have to now. I have a new, I hadn't had Hinge for ages because it just kept getting banned, and it got banned like 2-3 times, and I just gave up. I hadn't had Hinge for a couple of years. I got a new phone, so I've got a new phone, and I kept my old phone and put a separate SIM in it, and that SIM's got a Hinge on it. So I've got like a Hinge phone.
Hinge SIM. You've got a Hinge SIM.
Which means I don't really go on it. I don't really go on it too much, but if I want to, I can just get the old phone and just have a little swipe.
That's crazy. Because on Hinge they do the voice notes, don't they?
Yeah, I've got one. You know, that's my
Can we hear your?
We've got
I don't
it.
have my phone.
Oh,
it's not my
nice,
phone.
nice.
It's probably my.
It's not the hinge.
Yeah, it's
phone.
not the hinge phone.
Don't bring it out.
But why aren't you carrying the hinge phone with you?
You don't want
What's
to get
going on?
baited. You don't want to get baited.
A hot day in King's Cross. You didn't bring the hinge phone.
He keeps it locked away with a Scandinavian girl. I'm telling you.
It's probably my most replied to prompt. Is my voice note.
Really? What is your voice note?
It says something. The prompt must be. What's the prompt? It's like something about. Do we all agree on, or something like that? And it's something about. Do we agree that these voice notes aren't actually to say anything, but they're more to hear a person's voice? And people always reply to that.
Yeah.
And there's always like a bit of a niggle, like, oh, I should be in better shape, I should be fitter, I should be stronger. But you have, like, if I'm going to progress with work or other things or socials, I'm not going to be banging gym all the time. So.
Yeah.
That's the camera talking to you. It's because you see yourself all the time in the camera. Like you start to build it up.
Yeah, and just to be fit, I probably care. I don't train too much out of vanity. There is obviously everyone has a certain level of like, okay, I'm a bit too fat, or okay, I want to be a certain way. But I like to be fit.
Yeah,
I do like to be fit, and I do a lot of running and swimming and stuff to be fit.
There's a bit of product in that hair this morning, though.
Yeah, man.
There's a little bit of product in that hair.
I haven't got a plug for that. Johnny's Chop Shop, they cut my hair, do a good job. Yeah.
How much is the chop? I look like 45 quid for a skin fade or something.
Just plug it.
It's been brilliant. Thank you very much for doing this for us. It's we've had a great time, and it's been great to meet you. And hopefully we can run it back at some point.
Yeah, for sure, lads. Thanks for having me.
Awesome.
Cool.
Cheers,
Thank you.
Next time on No Context Sport.
And what's that Vegas trip like when you're at uni in your final year and you get the call saying that you're getting flown out to Vegas to spar? It must be incredible.
It was incredible at the time.
I'm talking about cheese, you cunt. Kumpo prawns on a passenger seat on the M25 going about 93. I'm a nasty cunt, don't look at me. Or I'll leave you on a ditch on a fucking M3.